What is going on, everyone? Chris from Pickdawgz.com here with the Wraparound. We're going to be breaking down the NHL action going down on Wednesday, December 27th, 2023. But before we get into that action, make sure you're subscribed to our channel. If you can, smash that like button. It helps us out a ton. We passed 100 million views here on our YouTube channel. Could not have done that without you guys' love and support, so thank you so much for that. The Wraparound would not be what it is without you guys. I do this for you, so thank you guys so much for all your love and support. Now, if you're looking for my best bets, the games I love the most, I'm going to have some NHL action on the board on Wednesday. Make sure you head to Pickdawgz.com. Click that premium picks tab at the top of the page. Let's get you guys squared away, whether it's just with me or we pair myself up with another one of the great cappers or a bunch of the cappers on the website. It's part of the multi-capper promotion. Definitely the best way to go. But I also have daily packages up there as well. The holidays now past it, and we're into the next part of the NHL season, but the money is still there to be made, and bills still have to be paid too. So let's make you guys some money. We got a full card, our first game back on the ice after that little bit of a 3-day layoff. Well, they come back at us right out of the gate with a 14-game card. Hell, you know the drill. You ready? I'm ready. Let's get into it. Our first game on Wednesday takes us to the Prudential Center, where the New Jersey Devils take on the Columbus Blue Jackets. And I get why the New Jersey Devils are favored at home here. They do have the better record. They are the better team on paper this season. They're 7-8-2 at home compared to the Blue Jackets, who are 4-8-3 on the road. But the thing for me here is that the New Jersey Devils are one of the worst teams in the NHL on the puck line. 8-24 on the puck line this season, including a paltry 1-16 on the puck line at home this season. That just means a lot of the times, I can almost guarantee a lot of the times New Jersey was favored at home, and that means they've only beaten one team by 2 goals or more at home this season. The Columbus Blue Jackets have been very, very good on the road on the puck line, 11-4 on the puck line on the road, and I can guarantee you the majority of those were as underdogs. And like I said, the Columbus Blue Jackets, it's just hard to get behind a team when the only way to get any sort of value out of backing them is to have them beat a team by 2 goals. And when the Devils aren't doing that, pretty easy to go to the other side, especially when the Columbus Blue Jackets just beat the New Jersey Devils in Columbus 6-3 back on December 16th. I got to go with the Columbus Blue Jackets here, plus the goal and a half. I'll sprinkle a little bit on the money line as well in this one. Now we head to Madison Square Garden for a Metro Division clash where the New York Rangers take on the Washington Capitals. I should say another new Metro Division clash, as the first game was one as well. But you're starting to see the New York Rangers priced as one of the best teams in the NHL, and for good reason. This team is 23-8-1, 11-4 at home. Can't fault the books for making them a heavy favorite around minus 225. But here's the thing: the Washington Capitals just beat New York in Washington 4-0 just a couple of weeks ago, back on December 9th. It looks thoroughly like the much better team in that game. And Washington, I think they're being undervalued here. Sure, the Washington Capitals have played in some low-scoring games. They've scored 3 goals or less in each of their last 6 games, but the goaltending has shown up for the most part. They've allowed 2 goals or less in each of their last 4. Each of their last 4 each of their last 4 games and 5 of their last 6 have needed more than 60 minutes. So maybe this game's worth sprinkling on a shootout or an overtime, 60-minute tie here. But I'm going to take a shot here on the Capitals, plus the goal and a half. I think they can at least keep this a 1-goal game. The New York Rangers, for how well they have looked, in a lot of their recent games, 3 of their last 4 have been decided by 1 goal, including a pair of overtime games for the Rangers as well. So give me the Capitals here, plus 1.5, and then sprinkle a little bit on the money line here as well. Now we're going to the Amalie Arena for another Battle of Florida, as you got the Tampa Bay Lightning hosting the Florida Panthers. And these matchups are usually physical. They're usually hard hitting, going for supremacy in the Sunshine State. Easy for me to say. But, the Florida Panthers have picked up wins in the last 2 meetings, going back to February of last year. Prior to that, the Lightning had won 7 straight head-to-head. And I think the Tampa Bay Lightning are probably going to get back on track here. The Lightning have done a good job of righting the ship. They just need to weather the storm until Andrei Vasilevskiy came back. And for the most part, the struggles for the Tampa Bay Lightning since Vasilevskiy has returned have come on the road. But at home, they've been rock solid. They're 10-3-3 at home this season. So that just means they were playing well going back to even when Vasilevskiy was out of the lineup when they were at home. This team is a dangerous, a lethal power play. And I just don't know if Florida's going to be able to hold up here. Sure, the goaltending has been decent as of late. Sergei Bobrovsky's been standing on his head. Anthony Stolarz has made the occasional start and served the the Panthers well, but Andre Vasilevsky's just clicking right now. I think the Lightning are clicking as a unit, and I think they get the job done over the Florida Panthers, and we're getting them at a decent price here. Not necessarily something I think we'll be able to do with the Tampa Bay Lightning for much of the year, so give me the Tampa Bay Lightning on the money line in this one. Now we're heading to Scotiabank Arena, where the Toronto Maple Leafs take on the Ottawa Senators in a Battle of Ontario. And, I'll tell you, as a Leafs fan, these Battle of Ontario matchups can always get a little bit hairy because, you think the Toronto Maple Leafs come in as the much better team. And Ottawa, well, they're tired of being little brother, and they always tend to show up and play the Toronto Maple Leafs tough. Now, Toronto has won 7 of the last 9 meetings between these two teams, but there's been a bunch of one-goal games in there, or one-goal wins for the Leafs if the Senators don't win outright. And, Toronto has won each of their last 2 trips to Toronto, going back to January of last year, and, or I should say January of last season. And, the Toronto Maple Leafs have had some issues, keeping the puck out of the net. Now, looks like Martin Jones could get the start here, and Jones has been serviceable, 4-1 in limited action for the Maple Leafs this season. But again, I'm still not trusting this Toronto Maple Leafs defense right now. That just seems to be in shambles. So I'm looking at the Senators plus the 1.5, and I'm going to sprinkle a little bit on the Senators money line as well. But I'm also looking at the over 7. Both these teams have high upside potential whenever they square off. I mean, the Leafs gave up 9 goals to Buffalo, 5 to the Rangers. They scored 7 against Pittsburgh. They had 11 combined goals against Columbus, 10 against the Rangers, 7 against the Islanders. You can see where I'm going with this. The Ottawa Senators in their last few games have seen 7 goals or more scored in each of their last 5. So give me the over 7 and also give me the Senators plus the 1.5 as well as a sprinkle on Ottawa money line as well here. Now we head to the KeyBank Arena where the Buffalo Sabres take on the Boston Bruins. And I said it before about the Boston Bruins, and maybe it's starting to come to fruition. Is this team mortal? I mean, maybe the Boston team that was just so dominant all the way going back to last year has started to show some cracks in the armor. I mean, they've lost 4 straight and 5 of 6. The majority of those, they're scoring 2 goals or less. They're coming off of back-to-back road losses to the Wild and the Jets. And while the Buffalo Sabres aren't the best team in the Eastern Conference, and they're not one of the best teams in the NHL, and they're still sub 500 at home, they still play their best hockey at home. And we've also seen this team take down some tough customers as of late. They went down to the wire with the New York Rangers in their last game prior to the break. They beat the Toronto Maple Leafs, hung 9 on Toronto at home. They beat Vegas on the road. They beat these same Bruins on the road in Boston 3-1 back on December 7th. So maybe it's a fate of Boston more than anything else right now. And I know the Bruins are going to get right. And, maybe the Buffalo Sabres are a place where you can, the Buffalo Sabres are a matchup where the Boston Bruins can wake up. But until I see it from Boston, I'm going to keep taking the value on the other side here. I'm going to take the Buffalo Sabres and the plus money in this one. Now we head to the UBS Arena where the New York Islanders take on the Pittsburgh Penguins in a Metro Division matchup. And the New York Islanders, well, I said it before, they seem to have adapted to this new play style that they've taken under, a high-scoring play style. And it's worked out for them. I mean, they've been winning games left and right for the most part. They've won 6 of their last 9 games. Pittsburgh, on the other hand, won 4 of their last 6. So both teams are in some solid form right now. But the New York Islanders at home just seem to be a different team. They are 9-3-6 at home, but they've been fairly competitive at home. The Pittsburgh Penguins, they're 7-7-3 on the road. It just feels like it's very hard to trust this team, especially on the defensive end of the ice. And head-to-head, the New York Islanders have won 4 straight meetings between these two teams in 8 of the last 10. We're getting them at a reasonable price. I'm going to take the New York Islanders on the money line in this one. Now we head to the XL Energy Center where the Minnesota Wild take on the Detroit Red Wings. And you still have 2 teams that are heading in different directions. And maybe the break came at the right time for the Detroit Red Wings. But, this is still a team that's lost 8 of their last 10 games. And a lot of those games haven't necessarily been all that close. The offense has been sputtering for the most part for Detroit, scoring 3 goals or less in 7 of their last 9 games, all of them losses. And that just means that the defense hasn't been holding up either, in my opinion. So, you got the Detroit Red Wings going to Minnesota, and Minnesota really dug themselves out of that hole. They've done a good job of sort of getting themselves back on track. This was a Minnesota team that was struggling early on this season, but now all of a sudden, 15-13-4, definitely a huge improvement from where they were at one point. 9-4-2 at home, and they've won 6 of their last 7. They've won 3 straight, including a pair of wins over the one of the toughest teams in the NHL, in the Boston Bruins. I think the Wild are just playing the better hockey right now, and we're getting them at a reasonable price here. So I'm going to take the Wild on the money line at -152. Now we head to the Bridgestone Arena where the Nashville Predators take on the Carolina Hurricanes. And the Carolina Hurricanes, in dire need of a win to sort of get themselves back on track. They've lost 4 of 5 and 7 of 10 entering the Christmas break, but I don't think this is the spot to get it. I get why they could be favored here. Public perception would be the Carolina Hurricanes on the surface are the better team, but they're still a 500 team. They're 17-17 when you combine the overtime and regulation losses this year. Nashville 19-15 on the year. They're 14-5 in their last 19 games. They're 11-8 at home this season. Now they've alternated wins and losses in each of their last 4. They've dropped back-to-back home games. But I still think the Nashville Predators at home are just not a team that I really want to step in front of right now. Carolina, like I said, they've been struggling. And head-to-head, Nashville's won the last 3 meetings between these two teams, including a 6-5 overtime win in Carolina about a couple weeks ago. So I'm going to take the value here. I'm going to take a shot on the Nashville Predators in this one at plus 112. Now we head to the Enterprise Center where the St. Louis Blues take on the Dallas Stars. And it should be a pretty good matchup here. The Dallas Stars tend to play their best hockey on the road. We've talked about that a lot over the course of this season. And they are playing some solid hockey right now. They've won 3 straight, 5 of 6, and even 6 of 8 heading into the Christmas break. But the St. Louis Blues are playing some decent hockey themselves. They've won back-to-back games in 4 of 5. And head-to-head between these two teams, the pattern you notice is that there's no sort of 1-2 back and forth. One team wins and the other team gets revenge. When one team wins, they usually go on a little bit of a head-to-head win streak. We saw St. Louis win 3 straight back from 2021 to early 2022. Now the Dallas Stars had just won 4 straight in this matchup. St. Louis Blues won 4-3 just over a week ago on December 16th, 4-3 in overtime. I think they build on it here. I just think this game should be priced closer to a coin flip. So getting plus 140 with the St. Louis Blues at home, I think is a decent spot to try to find some value. I'll give Scott Wedgwood some credit. He's been serviceable in the fill-in role. He's been a great backup for the Dallas Stars this season, but he can't win every start, and I think the St. Louis Blues could provide some value here. So give me the St. Louis Blues on the money line at plus 140. Now we head to the Mullet Arena where the Arizona Coyotes take on the Colorado Avalanche. And another, pretty good matchup in my opinion here. The Colorado Avalanche obviously are going to be heralded as one of the better teams in the NHL, and for good reason. This is a very, very talented Colorado Avalanche team, but let's not go too crazy on a Colorado team that's also 7-7-2 on the road this season. They played their much better hockey in Colorado at the Ball Arena, where they've gone 14-4 this season. The Arizona Coyotes in the same boat. They played their best hockey at home, which could bode well for them here. 11-5 at the Mullet Arena this season. They just lost to the Colorado Avalanche in Colorado just before the Christmas break. I think the Arizona Coyotes could get some revenge here. These two teams met back on November 30th in Arizona, and it was a 4-3 win for the Arizona Coyotes in that matchup. And right now, just the Colorado Avalanche, just in my opinion, just not consistent enough to really feel great about backing. Yes, they've won 5 of their last 7, but like I said, they've thrown in a couple clunkers in there, and all those 5 wins have come at home. The 2 games that they played on the road, they lost both. They lost to the Winnipeg Jets 6-2, and they lost to the Chicago Blackhawks 3-2. So I'm going to take a shot here with the Arizona Coyotes at plus 146. Now we head to the United Center where the Chicago Blackhawks take on the Winnipeg Jets. And, the Chicago Blackhawks we knew that this team was going to be in a bit of a rebuild this season. I think that there was no real secret about that. But, what once started with such promise and such hope has now started to fall to the wayside. They've lost 6 of their last 7 games. The majority of those have been by 2 or more goals. They're just getting their teeth kicked in on a nightly basis. On the other side, you got the Winnipeg Jets, who, like I've said before, are very consistent regardless of where they've been playing, home ice or on the road. They've won 8 of their last 10. They've picked up points in 9 of their last 10. And the bulk of their wins are coming by 2 or more goals, which has also been the theme in this head-to-head matchup with Chicago. Winnipeg has won 6 straight meetings, 9 of the last 10, and of those 6 consecutive meetings, all 6 have been by 2+ goals. Each of the last 7 wins for Winnipeg have come by 2 or more. I'm just going to keep rolling with that here. I'm going to go with the Winnipeg Jets on the puck line in this one. Next, we head to the Scotiabank Saddledome where the Calgary Flames take on the Seattle Kraken. And, the Seattle Kraken have started to pick it up on the road. This was a team that was struggling to find a lot of the same form that they've had on the road going back to last season. But now look at them. They've won back-to-back road games. They won in LA. They won at Anaheim as well. And they've also going back to that. They took the Dallas Stars to overtime on the road too. So maybe the Seattle Kraken are starting to wake up a little bit, but I'm not ready to crown them just yet. They are still 6-6-6. Oh boy, 6-6-6 on the road this season. And I don't know if I can trust the Seattle Kraken in a spot like this. The Calgary Flames, if you've been following me here at Pick Dawgz and doing the hockey videos going back to last year, the Calgary Flames are not a team that I get behind often, but they have won 3 of their last 4. They took the loss to the LA Kings prior to the Christmas break. But head to head, they flat out own the Seattle Kraken. They've won 4 straight and 8 of the 9 meetings since the Kraken joined the NHL. Not a game I'm rushing to the window to bet, but I'm just not there with the Kraken yet. I have to take the Flames by default on the money line in this one. Now we head to the Honda Center to see the Anaheim Ducks take on the Vegas Golden Knights. And the Anaheim Ducks, well, just when you thought maybe Anaheim had been turning a corner and that this team was going to get themselves back on track and actually be a competitive team in the NHL this season, well, they go back and old habits die hard. They lose 7 of their last 9 games, and all those they've scored 3 goals or less. Now, the Vegas Golden Knights, sure, this is a Vegas team that's been inconsistent as of late. You think they turned the corner as well and look like the Stanley Cup champions once again. But heading into the into the Christmas break, they lost 3 straight, all on the road. But the thing for me is that you look at the teams they were playing, 3 of the better teams in the Eastern Conference, in the Carolina Hurricanes, Tampa Bay Lightning, and Florida Panthers. I'm not saying those losses are excusable by any stretch, but they are understandable at least. And in comparison, I just don't think that the Anaheim Ducks have it here. I don't think that the Anaheim Ducks are on that same level as Carolina, Tampa Bay, or Florida. The Vegas Golden Knights have flat out owned the Anaheim Ducks in past meetings. Anaheim got the last win in Anaheim 4-2, but prior to that, it's been pretty much all Vegas as well. And I think that Vegas just takes care of business once again in this one. I'm going to take the Vegas Golden Knights on the puck line here. And our final game on Wednesday's card takes us to the Crypto.com Arena, where the Los Angeles Kings take on the San Jose Sharks. And just like the Anaheim Ducks, just when you think that maybe the San Jose Sharks are going to show some life and put up a fight in a couple of spots, while old habits come back and the San Jose Sharks get their butts kicked. They've lost their last 5 games in a row. They've lost their last 4 all on the puck line, and a combined score of 23 to, I'm trying to do some quick math here, 23-9 in those 5 games. The Los Angeles Kings, are they, a minus 360 favorite? Not at the best of times, but this is purely a fate of the San Jose Sharks more than anything. These two teams just met back on December 19th, and it was a 4-1 win for the Los Angeles Kings in San Jose. San Jose's won 5 straight in this head-to-head matchup. 3 of those have been by 2+ goals. So I'm going to take the Los Angeles Kings on the puck line in this one. I think they beat up on the Sharks to round things out. That's it. That's all the NHL action for Wednesday, December 27th, 2023. But just a reminder again, if you haven't already, make sure you smash that like button. And if you haven't already, subscribe to our channel. And make sure you hit that notification bell in the description of this video below. Make sure you get notified when all the newest and freshest content drops at Pick Dawgz. And again, if you're looking for my best bets, you can find those at Pick Dawgz Premium. And also make sure to let me know your NHL picks in the comment section below. Thanks for watching.